Hi. So let's talk about a common problem that so many people come to me with. Now, actually, it's not a very big problem, but then because it has been there since so long, let's address it. The question is, should you, a person preparing for education abroad, take the GRE or the GMAT? For many people, the dilemma arises clearly out of an inquisitive nature. The question is, if B schools accept GRE, why do people take the GMAT? For others, it is simply a problem of plenty. And yes, most of the answers that you will get won't really help you in making a decision. So here is how you approach it. Tell me, what is your goal? Would you rather keep your options open between a regular graduate program, which might only accept a GRE, and a graduate business program, which accepts both the GRE and the GMAT? If yes, then it makes more sense taking the GRE. Or are you someone who is clear that he or she wants to apply to graduate business programs only? Because if that is the case, take the GMAT. But then, isn't the GMAT more difficult than the GRE? Tell me one thing. Ever been to a place searching for a product, and when the shopkeeper doesn't have that product, but he has an alternative, how does he sell it to you? He simply says, please take this. Don't mind. It is as good or better, and this one comes cheaper. Now do you understand why the last time you asked someone whether the GMAT or GRE, which of the two is more difficult, why did that guy or that person sitting in the test prep institute say that the GMAT is more difficult? Obviously, that is because they don't have a GMAT course. Don't ask me. Think analytics. Look at this number. The GMAT is taken by 1/4 of the population compared to that which takes the GRE, which means if 1 million people took the GRE last year, almost 1/4 of it, or 250,000 people took the GMAT. And yes, the GMAT has its differences over the GRE. First difference, the GMAT is a completely adaptive test, which means the adaptive nature of the test is triggered from the first question itself once you get into the aptitude part. The GRE, on the other hand, is a section adaptive test. GMAT tests your understanding of grammar through sentence correction. The GRE, on the other hand, is more into vocabulary evaluation. And the third difference, GMAT takes you through single sections of 75 minutes each. The GRE teases you over 2 sections, which could add up to somewhere between 60 minutes for the verbal reasoning sections at 2 sections of 30 minutes each, or to 70 minutes over 2 sections of 35 minutes each. So now, which amongst these 3 differences makes you think that the GMAT is more difficult? Because if you think that the GMAT is more difficult due to the adaptive nature of the test, which means you must answer the question in front of you before you move to the next one, well, that is not such a big problem. Remember, be it the GMAT or the GRE, the real test for you is to focus your time on your strengths, and the axiom of standardized testing has since forever been that one question cannot make or break your score. So effectively, on the GMAT, if you get stuck on a tricky question, a smart test taker who deserves and actually scores a 700 plus score will not remain stuck. He or she will choose an answer and move on. He will rather focus his energies and his time on questions which are either his strength or where if he invests his time and effort, he would at least be able to answer it correctly. Same with the GRE. If your first section went very well, the second section will have higher difficulty and higher weight questions. And at least the adaptive software changes the difficulty level of questions if you start struggling with them on the GMAT. Look at it in the GRE. The GRE can't even change the questions once you start with the section. So in terms of difficulty, both eventually balance themselves out. If you are good, the GMAT will eventually, through its adaptive nature, bring you to a point where you see questions that pretty much suit your level of aptitude and therefore give you a score that pretty much suits you. The GRE, on the other hand, will increase the difficulty level because you actually deserve the higher difficulty, higher weight questions. Second point, if you think the GMAT is difficult because it tests grammar or English usage, look at the effort that GRE test takers put into mugging word lists. It is somewhere between arduous to ridiculous. Vocabulary, honestly, is a new domain for most GRE aspirants. If not most, many words are new and need to be understood. Grammar, English usage, on the other hand, is what most of us learned during school. And GMAT sentence correction therefore becomes more of a revision of an old concept than learning a new concept which the GRE wants you to do through your vocabulary. And plus, when you look at it, the GMAT sentence correction is pretty limited in terms of its rules. So the next time someone tells you grammar is fluid, trust me, it's not about GMAT sentence correction. It could be a lot of other tests where grammar is tested, but definitely not GMAT sentence correction. Third point, if you think GMAT is tough due to the longer section durations, think again. On the GRE, you get a break only after 125 minutes. That is 2 essays and 2 sections. That is 30, 30, 30, 35. On the GMAT, you get a break after 75 minutes. In fact, the first break is after 60 minutes. 30 minutes of analytical writing assessment, 30 minutes of integrated reasoning. So now count, which one gives you more time to breathe? But then you might ask, don't business schools still prefer the GMAT over the GRE? The answer is some of them maybe yes. Which ones? Check the website of the B school. Check their FAQs, the frequently asked questions. If they say they prefer the GMAT, then yes, they do. If they say that they only accept the GMAT, the argument is closed. But if they don't mention any preference, that means they consider both of them equivalent. How can I say that? Have you ever seen the GRE GMAT score equivalence table on the ETS website? Well, business schools, at least the higher ranked ones, never give you a cutoff or an expected score. Instead, they always talk about the right. They always talk about the percentiles. And that is what both the GRE and the GMAT will give you. Scaled scores and percentiles. And when you talk about percentiles, and if you know that a certain percentile indicates you are better than that much percentage of the test takers who have taken the test in the last 3 years, we go back to one of the initial arguments. So what do we see? The number of test takers for GRE 4 times the number of test takers for GMAT implies a 90 percentile on the GRE makes you better in terms of aptitude than a larger population size compared to a 90 percentile on the GMAT. That is a bragging point, isn't it? Anyways, to put it simply, there is just one question to be answered. Do you want to keep all graduate program specializations open as an option? If yes, then take the GRE. And if it is only the business programs that you want to pursue, take the GMAT. Don't compare on any other lines. Remember, you cannot compare apples with oranges. Good luck.